I got a call from my brother on Friday afternoon asking if I could come to Houston. He has something important to discuss with me. Sure, I said, since I didn't really have anything else planned for the weekend. I packed an overnight bag, locked up my apartment, and left Dallas about 7 that night. My car is fairly old, but she still goes well, so I figure I should reach Houston around 10 or 11 if all goes well. Music playing, coffee in a flask, and a pack of cigs, I'm all set and the wheels are rolling. About an hour and 15 minutes into the drive, the car gives a small jerk. Now I'm on high alert. Driving at night isn't my favorite pastime. I'm on a long stretch of road with nothing on either side of me, and the road fades away in the distance. The car loses speed and grinds to a halt. Banging my hands on the steering wheel, I open the driver's door and pop the hood. The only light I have is the light from the moon and my cell phone. I haven't seen a car on this stretch of road for about 30 minutes, and I have no idea what to look for, let alone how to fix it. After poking around a few minutes, I gave up, grabbed my overnight bag, locked the car, and started walking. By this time, it's just past 9. I checked the phone for signal, but there is just half a bar. I walked for about 20 minutes when I heard the faint roar of an engine in the distance. I turn around to see headlights coming my way. The truck pulls up next to me. "Need a ride?" the driver asks me through his open window. "That would be great," I said. "My car broke down and I have no idea what the problem is." "Hop in," he said. Grateful for the ride, I throw my bag onto the seat and jump into the truck. "Where y'all heading?" he asked. "Houston," I said. "Raise the name," he said, extending his hand over the steering wheel. "Ollie," I said, "and thank you for the ride." We drove in silence for a while, and I looked over at him, studying his face. He's probably in his late 40s, early 50s, stubbled beard and messed up gray and light brown hair. He looked pleasant enough. We make a bit of small talk and then a long period of silence. As the night grew darker and colder, I became more uneasy. He made a left turn somewhere on the dirt road. That's odd, I thought to myself. Maybe he knows a shortcut. Ray's eyes were scanning the dark, dusty road. At this point, a feeling of dread starts to creep up on me. We've made a few lefts and rights, and it seems Ray now decided to continue along this unpaved road, his eyes still darting. An unsettling silence hangs in the air as we drive through meandering country roads. Each mile that passes only deepens the suspense. I half turn myself to study the interior of the truck and notice strange objects in the truck's cargo area. Sharp tools and rolls of duct tape that raise alarming questions in my mind. Uneasy thoughts begin to race through my head. Is this kind-hearted stranger truly who he claims to be? Or have I unwittingly stepped into a terrifying trap? As fear grips me, my instincts scream for an escape plan. While hiding my phone out of sight from Ray, I start secretly texting my location details to my brother, hoping beyond all hopes that the message will go through. The tension builds exponentially when I start noticing glimpses of erratic behavior from Ray, his eyes darting around nervously, his hands gripping the wheel so tightly that his knuckles whiten. With each passing minute, trust fades away completely, as subtle hints suggest Ray is not alone in whatever game he's playing. Shadows of figures appear fleeting at the corner of my eye whenever Ray turns his attention away from the road. Summoning every ounce of courage I have left, I decide to challenge fate by confronting Ray. "You, young man, would do wisely to sit back and shut your mouth." He snarled at me. "Where are you taking me? What do you want with me?" I demanded to know. He ignored me. With a pull of the steering wheel, Ray swerved the truck off the dirt road and came to a halt very close to a dark building hidden in the wilderness. I could vaguely make out 3 figures wearing hoodies and carrying some sort of weapon in their hands. I flung the door open and bolted into the night with the 2 men and the driver giving chase. My mind was racing, and all the while I'm trying to navigate my way through the wilderness. My foot caught a rock protruding from the earth and I planted my face in the sand. Yelling in agony as my ankle twisted, the thugs were on top of me, grabbing my arms and tying my hands together with rope. They pulled a white hood over my head, pulled me up by my arms, and pushed me towards the dark building. As I entered the door, a smell of sweat, urine, and stale cigarette butts attacked my nostrils. Down the hall was another door that was left slightly open. All I could see was the side of a screen. The room was totally dark with only a faint red and some blue light hanging from the ceiling. I was ushered into this dingy room. To the left of me was a caged-off video view area. Up ahead there was what looks to be a torture chamber. My face paled and I thought, oh dear heaven, this is where I die. The thugs pushed me down onto a chair in the middle of the room, facing a camera. Not a word was spoken between them. Each knew exactly what they had to do. A man's face covered in almost a Michael Myers mask lit up the screen. Tonight, you are the star of your own show, Ollie. You will perform live for our audience and maybe, just maybe, if you follow orders, you get to live. In a flash, he disappeared and the camera started rolling. Cameras followed me around as I was pushed from room to room. I landed up in what I thought was a torture chamber. My hood was removed. The ropes that were tied around my arms were removed. I rubbed my wrist to get the blood circulation going. The man stood behind me, grabbed my left arm and placed it on the table. All the while the camera was rolling. He bent forward and took a scalpel from the shelf. Fear gripped me as I tried to pull my arm away. He closed a vise around my hand. The camera closed in. With the scalpel, he cut the little finger off my left hand. All I remember was screaming till I passed out. When I came to, my breathing was loud and heavy. Saliva dripped from my mouth onto my chest and blood squirted from the gap in my finger. Again, the scalpel was lifted, coming from my ring finger. I screamed hysterically, pulling at the vise, trying to get my hand free. All I felt was a heavy blow to my head. My neck bent forward and then shot back up, and a loud thud coming from the floor. Confused, I turned and looked at the floor. The man that was holding the scalpel was lying on the floor. His head had hit mine as he fell to the floor, a bullet hole to the back of his head. I saw police storm the building with my brother leading the way. "Thank heavens you got my message," I cried with relief. When 11:30 came and you didn't respond to any phone calls, I knew something was wrong, so I called the cops. I was crying like a baby by that time. One of the policemen wrapped a shirt around my hand and led me to the car. He brought my finger with so that the doctors can possibly sew it back on. Everyone else in the building was arrested. These guys were making snuff videos and I was their next entertainment. For those of you who don't know what snuff videos or snuff films are, they are videos or films used by psychopaths to record murder and torture. There are sick people out there who actually pay to watch these videos live. It's a very real and very twisted thing. Stay safe, my friends.